We've talked a lot lately about fees at campgrounds. Is Congress stepping in to make some changes that might make some improvements on that front? Some difficulties for folks traveling in the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone area, and a whole lot of your RVing questions. This is RV Miles. Welcome to episode number 323 of RV Miles. I'm Jason.
And I'm Abby, and we are two RVers who, along with our three boys, Jack, Ethan, and Henry, have been crisscrossing all over North America on one epic road trip since 2016. Here at RV Miles, we talk all things RV and outdoors, from industry news to national parks, travel destinations, and a whole lot more.
This is going to be quite the potpourri of an episode. We have a whole lot of different things to cover, including a whole lot of questions from folks in the RV Miles community. And this time I thought we should answer a bunch of questions from YouTube. So most of the questions are going to come from the YouTube front. But first, I wanted to share this news story that I have to give credit to our friend Rick Kessler from RVbusiness.com. Shared this on his social media, and I just thought I should read this to you.
Oh, boy.
So this comes from 96K Rock. I believe this is in Florida. Of course it is.
A Florida man.
Oh, it definitely is. It definitely is.
Okay.
The headline is In the Nude. Florida man busted for naked parade in RV park.
Is this a TTO?
It reads, it's always funny to see a weirdo in the nude here in Florida. Apparently it happens a lot. Meet Rolf Braun, a 73-year-old who decided to strut his stuff in the nude around his neighborhood. This unusual stroll happened at an RV resort in Lady Lake on a Sunday afternoon, and let's just say it didn't end well for Braun. Around 1:30 p.m., the Lady Lake police got a call about a naked dude. I keep saying dude. They like the word dude. It's a radio station's website. Making his rounds on Highway 466. When the police showed up, they found witnesses who claimed that Braun was walking around his RV lot in the nude without a single bit of clothing. This wasn't a case of some lost bathing suit on the beach. This was full-on carefree nudity. An officer approached Braun's camper, and Braun answered the door in a very unique fashion. He was wearing a t-shirt, but he was wearing it like shorts. How, you ask? His parts were sticking out through the neck hole of the shirt. As the police tried to arrest him, Braun decided it was a good time to get real uncooperative. However, the officers managed to slap the cuffs on him anyway. Braun argued that since Florida has nude beaches, he should be allowed to walk around in the nude. It is his neighborhood, after all. In his mind, he should be able to freak out his neighbors and make random people uncomfortable. It's safe to say the police did not agree with this logic. Braun finds himself sitting in Lake County Jail, fully clothed. His in the nudist escapade cost him a $2,000 bond.
Is this anywhere near the Villages? Asking for a friend. I don't have anything to say about this other than that is one visual I didn't think I was going to get today on a Wednesday afternoon.
That is a unique way to wear a t-shirt.
The conscious effort that you make when you go and put it on like that, and you're like, well, this seems like the natural place for that to go there.
Maybe he just doesn't know how they work. It's a t-shirt. He thought it was shorts. I don't know.
I don't know. I'd like to really. Is it a Salt Life t-shirt?
That I couldn't tell you. I didn't get a description of the t-shirt.
That's great. Thanks, Rick. That was a Florida man finds a new way to wear a t-shirt. It makes everybody uncomfortable.
I shared some stuff on the latest RV and camping news roundup video that we did. We're doing them every week over on YouTube. We've started to do them pretty much regularly on Mondays now. We think Monday is going to be the regular release day of the RV news videos, but don't count on it. Whatever. They can be whenever. It's just whatever floats our boat.
You just jinxed the whole thing.
I sure did. So one of the stories I did though was I had watched the Apple, what do they call it? WWDC
What would
It's Worldwide Developers Conference.
what would Darkwing Duck do?
I watched their keynote. The conference that they do every year is basically sharing. It started with sharing information to developers who make apps and programs for Apple computers and iPhones and all that sort of stuff. The whole purpose of it is to give those developers the information they need in order to create apps. And every year when they roll out new features, those developers get that information, right? Well, so now it's become a thing where it's also when they publicly announce new features that are coming. So this is about RVing and camping. So Apple has made some changes that are going to be really interesting for folks who hit the road later on this year. So these should roll out with iOS. I believe it's iOS 18 that will hit around September when they release the iPhone 16 inevitably. And so who knows which of these features will only be available for iPhone 16, but I think everything I'm about to talk about should be available for everything from iPhone 14 up. So there are three big things that I think are interesting for RVers. And the first one is satellite text messaging. So Apple rolled out, I don't know, a year ago or so, 2 years ago, whenever it was, they rolled out the satellite SOS. So everybody with an iPhone 14 or sooner has right now satellite SOS. So if you're in an emergency situation, you can send a message to 911 or emergency services, whoever it is. They also at the same time added a collaboration with AAA in order to give you access to AAA services if you are a AAA subscriber. As long as you have an iPhone, didn't matter which company that you're affiliated, Verizon, T-Mobile, whatever. So now they're taking that a step further, and they're going to be allowing you, if you have a satellite-enabled phone, so again, 14 or sooner, to text message beginning this fall to your friends and family. So if you're out on a trail or something, you're boondocking in the middle of nowhere and you need to let somebody know where you are, or you want to send somebody a happy birthday text or whatever it might be, you'll be able to do that. So I think this is going to save some lives.
Yeah, we were talking about that at breakfast the other day. I think that absolutely it will save some lives. There have been multiple instances where we've discussed, especially on the National Park News, of hikers that go missing as they go out onto the trail. And something like this, you get out into the backcountry, you lose all service. Something like this, should someone encounter an accident, would allow them to send an appropriate text, be able to tell people where they are, where they're located, and receive the services and emergency care that they need. So I think it's great. I'm glad it's here.
I do want to add, though, that this is not going to be just regular texting.
So I can't send a GIF, is what you're saying.
You might be able to send photos, but like video messages and stuff, it's not going to happen. But this is going to be a thing where you type out the message and you have to hold it. It's going to tell you where to hold it, pointing in the sky, and you're going to wait for it to send.
Wow,
so this is not like your kids all day text messaging, right?
This feels like the beginning days of cell phone. Actually, it feels like the beginning days of when we were in the bus, and it'd be like, if we just hold the phone in the window here, we'll get better service, and then we can hotspot and get this work done.
Yeah, get directions to where we're going.
It's like riding a bike.
Yeah. So also other companies are working on stuff like this. So if you're not an iPhone user, Verizon and AT&T have actually partnered to do something similar that's actually going to be available to anybody with a 4G or 5G phone. And so we know nothing about what these things are going to cost, if they're going to be included. Apple included, when they came out with the SOS, they included it for everybody for free for 3 years. So just saying that tells you that they're going to charge for it at some point, right? So there's probably going to be charges involved in some of this stuff at some point. So that was one thing. Then the next thing was trails coming to Apple Maps. Sorry, All Trails. This is kind of an All Trails kill. Although All Trails is still going to be, I think, a great resource for folks that are looking for reviews for campgrounds and a lot more detail and stuff. But you're going to be able to essentially plan your route. You're going to be able to make changes to a route and stuff on trails throughout the U.S. at least. And I know they already have the the big national parks included, and send that to your device, send that to your watch, um, and have it guide you on a trail, and so you can know where you are, know if uh, you've made the right turns and all that sort of stuff. And we've used All Trails a lot, and I
Yeah.
have found it very, very. Uh, it's not like you need it to say no, turn left now, but it's comforting to know where you are, how much left you have, all that.
Oh, yeah, especially when you have kids that are asking you how much
Are
longer.
we there yet?
Look, are we there yet? And you
Yeah.
can say, look, this is where we're at. But it is nice to have a point of reference to go along with the fact that when you're out hiking and you're out in the backcountry, continuing to know where you are should something happen while you're on the trail in those quick moments where you have just seconds to decide or seconds to take action. It's just really good to know this is maybe my last, this was my last marker, and here's where I'm at. So
What I love about All Trails though too is they show you the route, but then they show you the route that other people have taken,
yeah.
so you can, if the route's wrong, you can see why, or if it's changed, you can
Yeah.
kind of get an idea of why.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how user friendly and how quickly Apple is able to make adjustments like that to trails, and to if they have something wrong on their interface
Yeah.
with that trail, how it's marked, how you're able to report that or let them know or something like that. It'll I think this might be a little clunky,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I don't think that this is going to make something like an All Trails completely obsolete. Certainly it's going to give them a run for their money now, but I don't think anytime soon we're going to see just like the total just erasure of that particular
You know what blows my
platform.
mind? Folks like Apple and Google are working on stuff like this, and they have the ability to add length, height, and width restrictions into their map platforms,
Mhm.
so that we RVers and truck drivers and whoever could say this is the size of our vehicle, and use the native apps to guide us in RVing, instead of having to have a third party app, a Garmin, all that sort of stuff.
Well, that might be there at the next
It
WWDC. It
might.
does seem like they're paying more attention to those of us who spend time outdoors.
I still think, yeah, just like you said, whatever they do on that front though won't be as good as something like Trip Wizard is, because it's just not designed and created by
Well, yeah. I mean,
RVers.
those platforms are specifically
Yeah.
for RVing.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of care, thought, and time that goes into the needs of an RVer. A platform like this that's trying to serve, you know, 50 different types of user, 500 different types of users, it can't ever be as specific for a particular niche as you would like it, which is why I think it'll come in here. It'll disrupt things a little bit for sure. I don't know that it's going to completely eradicate everything, but there'll be a little
Yeah.
bit of disruption, and we'll have to figure out how to compete with stuff like that. And but that's good for business at the same time too. We always keeps people on their toes.
The third thing that they announced was something that I didn't put in the video because it wasn't in the keynote, but I've sort of caught a bit of it today. Is they're making some really big updates to Apple CarPlay. As vehicles become more screen dependent, our dashboards are pretty much turning entirely into just screens. Your
That's-
speedometer, all that sort of stuff,
Yeah,
screens,
that's
right?
the Tesla, 100%.
And it's across all vehicles. So more and more we're seeing a lot of that. So Apple's rolling a lot of functionality out for vehicle manufacturers to make to tweak Apple CarPlay to put like the color and design of your speedometer to match your vehicle, and perhaps for you to change that sort of stuff and have your own look to those things in the future. And perhaps for folks like RV Life, when they write their programming for TripWizard, to integrate it more into your vehicle as well. So I'm excited about seeing a little bit of that moving forward. We'll see what it looks like in the future. Of course, the proof is in the pudding, and is
Always.
it friendly and all that
Why
sort of stuff.
don't we say that? Why is the proof in the pudding?
I don't know. There's a reason.
Well-
All sayings, I see the sayings like that are all dumb, but we say them.
Where is Google right now? If I was at home, I would just ask Googs to tell us, like, why is it like that? Don't we have one of those here?
No, but
don't we have a Google Home to set up here?
We just haven't set it up, but we can have our friends at home. Hey Google, why do we say the proof is in the pudding?
You are the worst. So mean. Yeah, somebody ask their Googs why that happens and leave it in the comments for us. And let's not. I mean, I could ask. I'm not gonna say it because she'll respond, but I could talk to my watch or my
I know we've
phone.
got Siri. Yeah, what do we get?
Look, Siri she gets wild sometimes. I don't know. She responds. First off, she doesn't respond when you talk to her, but she does respond when you're not talking to her. And I'm like, I don't understand. Why are you trying to play this song for me right now? I didn't ask for it. Look,
She's
there
just trying to
she
answer
is.
you on my phone
She's
on my
trying
computer right now.
She's trying to talk to us.
She
It's
doesn't.
okay. Go back to sleep, Siri. It's fine.
Chances are you've seen them on the road. That's because Blue Ox designs and manufactures the best towing products in the industry. Just look around. You'll find them on highways and campgrounds and anywhere you find people traveling in the great outdoors. Award-winning tow bars, base plates, and brakes, a full line of weight distributing hitches, adjustable ball mounts, and a new line of fifth wheel hitches. With Blue Ox, towing doesn't have to be a drag. To learn more about how Blue Ox can make your travel adventures even more stress-free, visit blueox.com.
RV Miles is sponsored by Harvest Hosts. Harvest Hosts is a membership that allows RVers to take a rest from the road and enjoy unlimited overnight stays at over 5,100 unique locations in North America. Breweries, farms, attractions, wineries, and more. Easily plan and book your next RV trip and enjoy over $1,500 in exclusive member benefits by joining Harvest Hosts. Get 15% off your first year of membership with the code MILES. That's MILES. Go to harvesthosts.com to become a Harvest Host member today.
All right, we got a lot of questions to get to here from some folks in the RV Miles community, whether you are on YouTube, on Facebook, or wherever. Most of these come from those two platforms. And like I said earlier, I try to primarily focus on YouTube for this one. Some questions that I didn't actually get to respond to in the YouTube comments on a few videos.
I feel like this is some shade being thrown my way right now for a past episode.
No, it was
that,
not.
Oh,
No,
interesting.
not.
It's okay.
It's
No, it's
not.
fine. It's fine. We can keep opening up that wound. It's fine. It's
It's
fine.
not. The first question, though, was about something that we've been covering for a long time now, the whole national park filming issue for content creators. So the question was, are there any updates on that video photography bill that was in the works to allow us to record in the national parks? So no, it is sitting in committee in the Senate. So it passed the House. It was very, very bipartisan. The prognosis for the Senate was supposed to be pretty good. The question is the Senate going to bring up new bipartisan legislation like this?
Will we
in
see
an election year?
bipartisan? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Will we see bipartisan legislation in an election year? Probably not.
I don't know. There's another
Probably
piece of
not.
legislation that I'm going to talk about in my tanks later on. That it
Uh-oh.
was a similar thing that I think it's going to be. I don't know. Maybe hard to pass because it being election year. I don't know. I don't know all the details about how that sort of stuff works, but I do know that this isn't an inordinate time for it to be waiting in the Senate. So, hopefully it eventually will hit the floor in the Senate because it does have a lot of support. And I know the RV industry folks, the RVs Move America week just completed. And this is
Good.
where a lot of folks in the RV and camping industry go to DC.
Washington.
Yeah, and
they move America.
they lobby. They go to talk to senators and Congress people and whoever in order
Whoever
to
will
sort
listen.
of encourage them on some certain issues. And maybe some of those are consumer friendly and maybe some of them are not sometimes.
Wouldn't it be
but-
great to see? I bet it's out there. I mean, I bet I could go find it. I haven't looked, but I would love to see the agenda.
Yeah, I've gone through it all.
Oh, well, okay. Then
yeah,
so you just alluded to some of it being consumer friendly and maybe
Most-
some of it not.
So
I'm curious.
This
like,
time around, it was
what-
mostly about supporting bills that exist out there.
Okay.
For instance, there's a rash of lawsuits happening over websites compatibility for people with disabilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those laws, please don't I don't want this to sound like it is um, diminishing people with disabilities or the Americans with Disabilities
I'm
Act.
gonna slide over here.
There are a lot of lawsuits going around using the Americans with Disabilities Act about website access. Some of them are legit, some of them are frivolous, and some of them are highly funded by lots of lawyers that are just having a field day suing small businesses for a lot of money about website access. And we all need to be better about providing better access to information, everything for people with disabilities. So the bill that is out there that the campground industry is trying to support is a bill that that requires a window of, once a complaint has been brought up, a window of 90 days or so for that campground or whoever, whatever business it might be, to come into compliance and fix the problems before they have to take it to court and have a lawsuit and all that sort of stuff. So you can make up your own mind whether you agree with that or not, but that's the kind of stuff that they're fighting for. Another thing being credit card processing fees. There's some legislation out there right now that's trying to break up the stranglehold that Visa and MasterCard have over credit card processing fees and allow more competition, and they're supporting. So they go and they speak their support for these types of things.
Okay.
But one of the questions we have actually to answer in here is a type of thing that is not consumer friendly. So
No.
I'll just jump to that one right now. Is it true that a campground owners association has a boilerplate packet for its members to lobby local governments to ban free RV camping, such as at Walmart or now places like Boondockers Welcome? We did a story recently about a Boondockers Welcome being shut down. It galls me that I might not be able to overnight at a Walmart parking lot and hit the road next morning, not needing an RV park's pool, playground, restrooms, or utilities. Yes, it is true. So this has been going on for years. I don't know that they still circulate this legislature, but they were. And it was public information until they took it down from their website and everything. But there's a draft legislation for local campgrounds to try to get their township, their county, whoever, their state legislature to pass, that kills overnighting at Walmarts and other places like that. So that's why when we talk about Walmart's being shut down to RVers, and when we say Walmart's, we mean all businesses that allow overnight parking, like Cabela's, Cracker Barrel, all that sort of stuff. Usually Walmart's not the one doing that, unless it's like in a big city or something like that. Usually it's a local municipality that has a law that doesn't allow that. And sometimes the local municipalities actually own the land that Walmart's on. Walmart often leases from local municipalities. So there is this legislation that campgrounds are like, hey, it's unfair competition that people are staying on these lots when they should be staying with us. And again, you can make up your own mind about what you feel about that, but it exists.
How dare these people roll into a Walmart at 10 o'clock at night and sleep for 8 hours and then leave? They should be coming in very late into our campground and disturbing everyone else in the campsite. And we should have to get up to meet them and drive them to their campsite in order to make sure they back in safely.
That was the National Associations of Campgrounds. They're now called OHI, Outdoor Hospitality Industry, OHI. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. Oh, hi. Oh, hi. You want to show up at 10 o'clock at night and disturb everybody? That sounds great.
My favorite moment from The Simpsons ever is, the whole thing about The Simpsons is they're in Springfield, but they never say which state Springfield they're in. And
for the record, it's Springfield.
There's a Springfield in pretty much every state, right?
Just saying.
Probably every state. So there's an episode, though, where Marge is on the phone giving her address to somebody. Mm-hmm. She's like, blah, 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 Springfield. And she goes, oh, hi, Maud. and Maud's outside the window. She sees, so they make you think for like the split second that they're telling you on that episode that it's Ohio. And
no,
it's not.
It's Illinois.
742 Evergreen Terrace, Springfield, Ohio, Maud. Come on in.
Hello. I'm still a bit confused.
Oh, why?
So this was a comment on our roundup of all the different national park and federal lands passes out there. So we've got a video, several of them. We try to update it when changes happen, about all the different passes available: the America the Beautiful Pass, the Disabled Pass, which is called the Access Pass, and the Senior Pass and Volunteer Pass, Military Pass, all that sort of stuff. So the question after watching that video was, I'm still a bit confused. I'm going to travel the U.S. for 3 weeks and would like to visit different parks. Which pass would you recommend? Is there any, say, general monthly pass or anything like that? No, there's not. So the thing I suggest to people, I think, is first of all, if you can just shell out the $80 and get the America the Beautiful Pass. If you're not a senior, you're not a veteran, and you're not disabled,
Mm-hmm.
the annual America the Beautiful Pass, $80. If you're trying to do a math equation to figure out how much money you're spending over a 3-week trip, basically you need to know the exact parks you're going to,
Yes.
if they charge what they charge, and whether all of that is going to add up to $80 or more.
Yeah,
It really comes down to that.
You go to 4 fee collecting national park sites, you've met your America the Beautiful right
Yeah,
there.
even 3. A lot of those parks are $35 for a
Yeah,
week
that's
now.
true. I think
Yeah.
$20 is showing my age as an
Yeah.
RVer. Yeah.
So if you want to check out that video, we'll link to it in the description for this video. But if you're heading out to national parks, get that pass, and you don't need to get it in advance. You can get the pass at the park you visit, and if you do, that money stays in that park entirely. If you don't, it goes to the general fund, or at least to the general national parks fund. But you don't have to pay the $10 shipping fee and stuff. Just get it in person.
Yeah, and there's a couple of stores that also sell them as well. I think REI has
Mhm.
them, LL Bean, places like that as well, where you wouldn't pay the shipping fee.
As a solo 76-year-old female, would you recommend a caravan trip? Now, this is referring to going to Alaska,
Oh.
because we talked a lot about the going solo as a family or whatever, or going with other people. And caravans to Alaska are a popular thing because a lot of people are concerned about not knowing where to go and not knowing where to stay, and it's a long way away, and you're going through another country, and there's familiarity in numbers. So there are these,
Remote. It's just
Yeah.
a lot of remote driving.
and they do it to Baja as well.
Mhm.
There are these caravan groups that will arrange everything for you. So you pay a fee and you join the group, and you have radios, and you all travel together, and they prearrange the places you're going to stay. They prearrange the tours you're going to do, all that sort of stuff. And I don't know. I mean, I think that your 76-year-old and
Amazing.
female
Goals.
portion of it has little bearing on whether you join a caravan or not. I think, to me, it's really about your comfortability level.
Yeah, I think, speaking from a female's perspective, I do think that there is safety in numbers, and I
Sure.
understand that 100%. I think I would be inclined to a trip like that is weeks, potentially months long. I think I would be inclined maybe to either meet up with some people along the way that I know, or to join a caravan. The thing about caravans is, you lose a little bit of the spontaneity and freedom of exploration once you get up there, because it is so scheduled out. And some people like that. Some people, it's their anxiety level is decreased when they know that they've got people with them that have done this before, that they have everything thought out. Alaska can feel very overwhelming to some people, for sure. It felt overwhelming to us. We had some anxiety a little bit about returning to the States, the lower 48, on our own by ourselves. But again, I think because we were together, the two of us, again, there's 2 adults to manage
Yeah.
the situation.
Yeah, I guess to be clear, I wasn't saying that because you should be comfortable doing it, whether you're 76 years old and a woman or not. What I was saying is actually, I think it's always feels better to go with other people.
Yeah.
And you know,
I
and it doesn't mean you need to do a caravan though. You could find another person that's going, a couple other people. You could put together your own little caravan.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions there that I think only this particular person can answer. You know, do you enjoy traveling with people? How comfortable are you with repairs? Do you prefer to be mostly solo? Do you like being in campgrounds? Do you prefer to do boondocking? You know, what is your level of going out into sort of more remote locations as an
Yeah,
RVer? Like, how comfortable are you
if
with
you
that?
already do that stuff, if you spend a lot of time
know-
boondocking 100 miles from everybody in the West, then you probably be fine.
You know, where are you health wise? I mean, there's a lot of things that only I think that particular RVer that, you know, you can only answer for yourself. And then once you answer those particular questions, that's when I think, you know, you can decide your level of like, how do I want to experience Alaska and how do I want to get up there? I think it's amazing. Talk about life goals, like solo female traveler at 76. That's incredible to me. I think that says a lot about this person as an RVer to begin with. So
one of the cool things about going to Alaska though is that a lot of people are doing it.
yeah,
You know, so you could do something where if you go into like the RVing to Alaska Facebook group and talk with people and link up with some people, you might find people that you just journey up to Alaska with. And then once you're there, you do your own
Yep.
thing. You might find some people that that are your partners on just the journey. Or you can, if you're in a problem, reach out to anybody in that group that is traveling at that time. And people are all, it's a community of a lot of people doing the same thing at the same time. So it isn't as remote and alone as it feels.
Yeah, gosh, the amount of people I'm watching live their best Alaskan life right now on their way either up to Alaska or have just come into the state. It's thrilling. There's a ton of people up there, but I get the reservations a little bit traveling as a solo female through an area like that. I personally, I don't know that I would do it.
Yeah.
I don't think I would.
I don't know that I would.
I don't think I would.
I-
Just as a solo RVer, I don't. That's just me. I don't think I would. I think I would rather just even like you mentioned, just meet up with some people and make that drive together. And then if we want to go our separate ways, we can. But I think even interspersing meeting up with people, maybe you don't have to travel together the whole time, but you know you've got this meetup coming with some friends further on down the road. Then you're going to go your own way. Then you're going to come back together again. It's just knowing that you have all of that because there's a lot of driving where you, especially once you get into Canada, there's a lot of driving where you have no cell service.
Yeah.
So
But-
unless you stop and get that Starlink out.
There are certainly people that do it solo, and
Oh, for sure. And
good for them.
good for them.
It's not me.
100%. That's the beauty about RVing. You can just kind of make it your own thing and at your own pace and your own comfort level.
A couple electricity-based questions.
Well, those are for you.
No,
I'll just
no,
be
no,
over.
no.
No, I'll be
You're-
over here.
No, this one you got. Wayne asked, lithium batteries, your experience worth the price?
Yes.
100%.
100%.
Well,
I mean, move next. Next question.
They have come down enough in price too that the equation has gotten so much better. Because it used to be like if you wanted 100 amp hours of lithium,
Mm-hmm.
it was $1,000 easy, if not more, if not 12.
Yeah.
And now you can get a 1,000 amp hour battery for half that price. It's one of the few things out there that's come down in price. So anymore the wet cell batteries are just terrible. Burn them out once or twice and they've lost half their capacity. The lithium batteries are so much more stable. They last so much longer. They're so much lighter, and you can use them down to a low percentage. With a wet cell battery or an AGM, whatever it is, you don't really want to run those below 50%. So you're only getting half the capacity. So you're comparing a 100 amp hour battery, which I don't even get 100 anymore. There's get 200 amp hours now, 500. But a 100 amp hour battery, a lithium battery, you could use that down to 10%, 5% even. 10%. If you get a wet cell battery, you're only using 50% of that. So really it's a 50 amp hour battery. So you have to add that into the equation as well. They have been real life changers for us having lithium batteries. We have 500 amp hours, and we don't run air conditioning or anything like that. We probably could for a little bit, but everything else we can run for days.
Yeah. We've considered adding on, but these are still investments, and I think you can ask that question if it's worth it, but then you have to ask yourself, like, what kind of RVer am I going to constantly just be hooked up in a campground? Then, maybe hold on to your $1,000 and you don't need to get one. But if you're really wanting to make the investment into solar and you want to do more boondocking, if you think it's a money saving thing, I'm here to tell you it's not. But if you just want to have more freedom in your camping choice,
if you're looking to you just bought an RV, they're asking you at the dealership, which one do you want to put in, right? I think even just the 100 amp hour lithium battery, $500 or so, although that's not what it's going to cost at the dealership. Maybe even less. You might even be able to get one for closer to 400 compared to the wet cell battery at like $120, $150 just for travel days and being able to keep your fridge running and all that sort of stuff. I think is worth it to just go with that. And also
the
you
occasional harvest host, you just want to stop overnight. You just want to stop at Walmart. You just want to keep, like you said, that fridge going.
You have to price it out over time too, because that wet cell battery is not going to last you more than 5 years. And that lithium battery is going to last you double that. So, there's a lot of different things that feed into the equation for sure. And the other electrical question was from Joe. My wife and I are leaving on a 300-mile trip and plan to stop overnight at a harvest host. Our refrigerator is 12 volt only, no propane, and I wasn't planning to bring a generator. We have a 200-watt solar panel with a single battery on the travel trailer. The tow vehicle battery is in good shape, but I wonder how much it will drain down overnight. Any experience or advice? This is such a common question. People overnighting somewhere for the very first time. And now that we all have these 12 volt refrigerators, is my battery going to last overnight? And unfortunately, there are a whole lot of variables to that question. That are hard
temperature
to answer.
is going to play a big factor in this. Like, how warm is it going to be outside? So how often is the fridge going to need to run to stay at temp? How often are you going to be opening the refrigerator? Are you going to be getting there and wanting to cook and needing to get into the fridge? I would recommend that you don't. Your solar panel may do nothing if you're arriving when there's no solar to pull.
You should be arriving with a full battery after a day of driving with your solar panels and everything. You should be arriving with a full battery. So I think that's a good start. The question is, what shape is your battery in? How big of a battery is it? And again, how hot is it and all that sort of stuff. But I think you can reasonably expect that you'll be okay overnight if you don't open the fridge.
And make sure it goes to that night setting. A lot of the fridges now are going to have that night setting on it. Make sure that goes on. That's going to, again, decrease power being used to the refrigerator throughout the night. That's going to help the battery. And don't linger in the morning. There's just so many. There's so many variables. It's so hard to say.
The other things that you're going to run in your RV, the fan. Are you going to be running the fan? Those fans, is like the Fantastic fans. They can actually. So we have a Fantastic fan. We have the Max Air fan. It has 4 settings. And I saw somebody else in the IBEX owners group that has the same exact fan that we have. They did a power comparison of the 4 different settings, the different speeds of the fan. And when that thing's on full, it goes. First 2 hardly take any power at all. Third one, decent amount of power. Fourth one, it took a lot of power.
If it's like up in the 90s, That's not comfortable. We've done that at a Harvest Host. That's not comfortable. And the refrigerator will run. Even if it gets down into the 70s at night, it is still just retaining all of that heat, and the fridge runs. We have done it. And it's just not something, if you're just working off of a regular old battery, I don't know. And again, how big is the fridge? That's another thing too, the difference between, we had a full residential 12-volt fridge. So that ran more. There's a lot that goes into it, and so just you have to take all these different things into account,
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean,
make the best decision you can.
I would do a trial thing beforehand, or consider this your trial thing.
If you have it in your driveway, just let it do its thing for a couple hours and see how it goes.
Worst case scenario, if you have to shut your fridge off for like 6 hours or so, if you don't open it, it should be okay.
It should.
There you go. Thanks for asking your questions. We'd love to hear more in the RV Miles Facebook group. You can leave them in comments on YouTube videos, whatever they might be. You can send us an email at editor@rvmiles.com. All that sort of good stuff. Please do send us your comments. We wanted to take a moment here to talk a bit about our America's National Parks podcast. If you haven't checked it out recently, we've got some new writers.
Listen to our new writers that have joined the team over there. We have brought on some incredible people with really tremendous resumes who have been longtime fans of the show. So they really do understand and have the voice of the show already with just their first stories. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we've had many writers in the past, but over the last year or so, it's really just been me and Abby and Lauren, who's fantastic.
Lauren is amazing.
But Lauren only does one episode a month for us. So we decided we would go back and grab some more people with some more experience and fill out our stable of writers a little bit more. And I'm really excited about some of the stories that we've been able to tell over there recently and that we're going to be telling over the next several weeks.
Absolutely. So if you're looking for some national park inspiration, then you want to come over and check out the over 250 episodes that we have of the America's National Parks podcast. You can listen to it wherever you are listening to RV Miles. If you want to hear the news video that we do for America's National Parks, we do that once a month. It's called our National Parks News from the Parks episode. We do put that out onto the RV Miles channel, but it also goes right into the feed for the America's National Parks, so you're not going to miss that. There are some very fun additions and changes coming to the America's National Parks podcast this year. So if you are not listening, now is the time. We're going to link to it in the description here on YouTube, or if you are listening to the RV Miles podcast, most likely what you can do is just scroll down through the RV Miles podcast page that you're going to see in your podcast app. And down at the bottom, it's going to recommend some other podcasts to you. And pretty much America's National Parks is going to be there because it is underneath the RV Miles network. All right, so that means it is now time to check the level of our tanks, and this is sponsored by our friends over at Liquefied RV Toilet Treatment, the No BS toilet treatment. Go check it out for yourself at liquefiedrv.com. Jason, what is in your black tank this week?
Big issue on the Teton Pass.
Yikes.
So we talked about this a little bit on the live stream the other night. But the town of Jackson Hole, most of the people that work, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, is sort of the gateway community to Grand Teton National Park and the southern gateway to Yellowstone National Park. So this town is some of the most expensive real estate in the country. And it is very difficult for the people that work there to live there. Mm-hmm. Most of the housing is Airbnbs and all that sort of stuff. And very rich people that have moved in over the last few years, hedge fund managers and stuff, that a lot of the people that work there are not very happy about. From my trip there over the winter, there was a lot of we had a lot of conversations about the discord between the locals and the new
locals.
Yeah,
new locals.
So a lot of the people that live, and this is a problem across the country in gateway communities. A lot of the people that work in Jackson live in Idaho, and they take an hour or hour and 20-minute drive over the Teton Pass to work in Jackson Hole and serve the tourism community. So a big portion of the Teton Pass collapsed in the last few days, cutting that access route off altogether, which is making the way around. There's a lot of disagreement on how much time it's adding, but it really depends on where they are. The amount of time it adds could be up to an hour and a half of time to an already twice daily commute of over an hour. They're adding, another hour, let's say, on to that. So it's a decent amount of time, and it's going to make getting summer employees challenging for a lot of those businesses. Not a lot of RVers are taking Teton Pass. You can't take trailers over it over a certain length. Some do, but not a lot of RVers take Teton Pass. But a lot of RVers do visit Jackson as a sort of southern gateway to these two national parks, and it's going to be interesting there this summer. Good news, though, is that it seems like they're going to be where the collapse was on a big U-turn, almost like a hairpin turn, and it was right at the apex of that turn. And what they're able to do, it looks like, is create a little bit of a cutoff. So you're going to have to like make a sharp left or a right turn in order to sort of cut off the edge of this loop. But they are putting in a temporary crossover that is going to allow people to actually continue to take this route. There's going to be traffic jams and stuff, but it's going to be much better than going the long way around. So there's some good news on that front, at least, but it is going to be a challenge for at least the next month or so.
A lot of road collapse situations over the last few years. And I don't think this is the last time we're going to talk about something like that. All right, what is in your fresh tank this week?
So my fresh tank is an email we got from the American Hotel and Lodging Association, of all people.
Okay.
They're wanting to share another piece of legislation. That's what I alluded to earlier, that has passed the House of Representatives and is moving on to the Senate. And this is called the No Hidden Fees Act. And the goal is to create a single standard for mandatory fee display across the lodging industry, from short-term rental platforms to online travel agencies, search engines, meta search sites, and hotels. They don't want hidden fees, so that they're compensated. You might wonder why the Hotel Association would be supporting this. It's actually a big problem for them, because when you go rent an Airbnb and then there's like a $250 cleaning charge added on top of it.
And taxes and tourism taxes. And it's sometimes the fees for the Airbnb are double to triple the amount of the cost per night for the actual Airbnb. Yeah. It's wild.
So it's not that fees can't be charged, is it that it can't be hidden. They have to be shown and included in the searching of the price, right? So the hotel industry wants some even competition across the playing field, because if they don't all agree to it, then somebody's going to do it, and somebody's going to undercut everybody. It's kind of like certain RV dealerships that advertise a lower price than everybody else, and then they charge $1,500, $2,000 to do a walkthrough.
That Wamping Coral.
So it's as far as I can tell, I've read through the legislation, it does not exclude campgrounds from this. So we've talked a lot about fees lately, and hidden fees in particular. So this legislation would require that those hidden fees be up front when you are searching and comparing different places to stay.
And I would guess that if this moves through, it's going to trickle down, and we will start to see what we all talked about quite extensively a couple episodes ago, more transparency with campgrounds and their hidden fees you don't see until you're checking out.
So I'll certainly keep my eye on that. And I'm going to share a little bit more about it in the next RV and camping news video. And I will definitely keep an eye on if it passes the Senate for sure. All right, Abby, what is in your black tank this week?
So I think this has been a black tank in the past, but I think it's time just for another friendly PSA here from us at RV Miles. And this drives me nuts. It happened to me twice today while I was out and about running around, taking the kids where they needed to be. If you come up to a double right turn where you have two of you who can turn right at the same time, that person on the outside right to your left, you're not allowed to turn right on red.
Yeah, only
you can't go.
The furthest right lane can turn.
Please, I'm begging you. Like, if you need to turn right on red, you need to be in that right turn lane. You cannot do it in the left lane. It is illegal. It is dangerous.
And a lot of
it is
people
dumb.
do it, and they don't even go into the lane they're supposed to go in. So they'll turn from that inside lane, and then they'll turn into the outside lane.
Yes, and that happened today, and I could just feel the energy off that person in the right left lane, and I was like, I'm not gonna go and I'm gonna piss everybody off behind me, but I'm just feeling some energy off of this that they're gonna go and they're gonna be dumb about it. And sure enough, they went. And they couldn't actually get to the lane they were supposed to go to because there was someone driving in the lane through the intersection. So they had to go into the right lane, which would have been the lane I was going into had I also, as I could have safely done, moved into my lane. It is amazing to me how many people don't know that this is a law. It is, look it up. Like, they taught it. I don't know, maybe somewhere out in some other state. I don't know, but I've never lived in a state where this has not been law. It was taught to my kid in driver's ed that you do not turn right from the left turn, or the left
from the
right.
inside. The inside left.
The inside
yeah.
lane. How are we going to say this? Yes. From the inside lane, you don't go right. You just have to wait. You have to wait.
So I tick a lot of people off around here all the time because I will not turn right on a red arrow, which is illegal in Illinois. And a lot of people don't realize that. They think because in some states it's not illegal. In some states you can turn right on a red arrow. In
and
Illinois,
maybe in Iowa you can.
Maybe.
I mean, and this is probably
we're
a little
right
bit,
on the border.
Yeah.
So we've got people from both sides.
But look,
but in
you're
Illinois, if it's it's a round circle red light, you can turn right on red. If it's a red arrow, that means no turns at all until it turns green, or if it's yellow flashing or whatever. But that's the whole purpose of the red arrow here. So, but nobody here follows that one.
No, nobody.
I get honked at all the time for that.
Nobody follows the laws of the red and the right turn. It just drives me bonkers because it's just an added level of awareness that I have to have as a driver, because I can't trust that the majority of the time, because there's a lot of, now you might be thinking, my gosh, I can't remember the last time I came up on something like this. There are so many of these here in the Quad Cities, and nobody seems to know that you cannot do that. If you are in the inside lane, you cannot turn right. So I'm fresh off of that happening to me when I got here. So I bumped everything else off my black tank and I threw that one on as a reminder. I know we've talked about it in the past. It is worth reminding though.
All right. What's in your fresh tank?
So my fresh tank is going to go out to, this is a fresh tank to all of you folks out there in the RV Miles community, especially those of you that are coming to homecoming, because I have been just amazed at how this is really becoming a community-driven event. So many people are stepping up and messaging us about how they can participate, how they can offer a skill, how they can lend assistance to this event and really bring their talents to it. And I was thinking about this because I was kind of looking at the menu for the event, and I was just trying to figure out, like, are we just going heavy again? Because hey, that Hy-Vee pasta, that was real good, okay? But there's someone in the RV Miles community who lives in that area, and she has been such a resource for me. She has sent me message after message of all these places that she can recommend that she knows does catering.
Nice.
And like asked, like, what kind of cuisine are you looking for? This is a really great place for this and this and this. And that has been so helpful to have that person who lives there. But then the amount of members that are coming that are going to give a seminar or offer a service. Like we know that RV Miles friend Emily is going to offer a service at a really reduced rate to take pictures, little mini sessions for people. Like if you've ever wanted to have, like a little mini session with your rig in the background and have a photographer actually do that for you and not just some like selfie of you and, your group. Like,
and like golden hour in Amana is gorgeous. So
stunning. And we had a mile marker member who's coming message us about how she has a connection to a birder or
falconer.
A falconer who has offered to come and like show the falcon. I mean, I don't even know what to do with that. Like, I know you are. It's just really cool. And then to see what has really been the response from the community too about this sort of consumer seminar that we're going to host. And this is really, I think, in some ways starting, it's not going to become the focal point because let's be honest, the cornhole tournament is the focal point. Like, let's be real here. Everybody wants that trophy, but this is really becoming sort of like a highlight of the seminars that we're going to offer. And I think people are really craving that ability, that desire to want to have constructive discussion and discourse about what is happening in an industry that we are fueling. We are the consumer. We are consuming it. Shouldn't we have some kind of say in it?
Yeah.
So I just have been really, this has been on my mind after our live on Monday night, and really seeing sort of everyone's response to homecoming and the continued emails that we get of people offering their time to help make this a really, truly amazing event. So fresh thank to all of you for really making homecoming exactly what we've always dreamed that it would be, and that is a community-fueled event.
So if you're interested in joining us at homecoming, it is going to be in Amana, Iowa, the second week of October, and all the details will be in a link in the description below. We hope to see you there for sure. That's it for this week's episode of the RV Miles podcast.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to the several of you, dozens of you actually, who have gone over to Apple Podcast and left RV Miles a 5-star review. 1,300 reviews, 4.8 stars. It's just amazing to see that kind of support. So thank you. If you have not had a chance to do that, just know that 30-second effort helps put us in front of a whole new generation of listeners. Or if you have done that, but you're not subscribed to the RV Miles podcast YouTube channel, will you please come over and join us there? Come check out what this looks like if you were to watch it and see all the interesting expressions that we make when the other person is talking, or how one of us tries not to yawn for 45 minutes. I've literally suppressed a yawn for 45 minutes, and not because this has been boring, but because I've been going since 6 a.m.
I like how you think you suppressed it. You mean we stopped so you could yawn?
I finally was like, we have to stop. I need to yawn. I can't hold it anymore. It's like a sneeze. I can't. I got to get this yawn out. So anyway, if you haven't come over to YouTube, we'd love to see you over there as well. But until next week, friends, please continue to stay safe. Only turn right if you are in the far right lane, I beg of you. And if there is no arrow, and keep logging those RV miles.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.